Well, it has been quite some time since I've tried to do one of these videos. In all honesty, life itself has been kicking me directly in the balls for the past few months now. It's been an absolute nightmare, to be honest with you, but you can kick a man down, but you can't keep a good man down. So, I've decided to hop back on the horse and try again. It's time to get back into being a video game essayist. Besides, making these videos, it does calm the mind for me. I have a good time making these. There's something calming about collecting footage and editing it, but my work-life balance recently has gone fucking bananas, and I didn't even have time to breathe most days. Anyways, if I sit here and talk about my problems, we'll never get into the absolute masterpiece of a game I'm about to present to you, and one of my favorite games of all time. Today, we're going to dive head first into a game that floods my entire body head to toe with nostalgia. That's right, it's time to take a look at Gears of War. Now, I know it's been a while since the last time I posted a video on here to... Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, it's been a while, but... Yeah, I mean, at least I'm getting back into what I played again with an amazing game. One that I enjoyed so very much when I was a young man, and this video is definitely going to be a labor of love for me. I am 100% okay with playing through Gears of War again for this video. You see, back in the day, I thought I was buying an Xbox 360 to enjoy games like Halo 3 or The Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Hell, I was even getting excited about playing my old Xbox games with backwards compatibility, but as it turned out, I bought an Xbox 360 to play, you know what, no, to live Gears of War. I just didn't know it at the time. Back in 2006, I was working at an automatic door factory down in Carrollton, Texas. I used to make $7.25 an hour making the heat sinks that go onto the electrical control boards and the automatic doors you see on buildings like, I don't know, Walmart or fancy hotels and whatnot. I do not enjoy factory work. Everybody at some point in their lives learn exactly what they don't want to do ever again. Like fucking ever again. I had probably played Gears of War for about a half hour before I realized that I had completely fallen in love with the game. And not just the game. The story, the music, and the graphics were compelling and presented in a way that I had not experienced in a video game before. It reminded me of those classic movies about war like Platoon. The insanity of Apocalypse Now, the confusion of Full Metal Jacket, and of course the fascism and future feeling of Starship Troopers. Now I remember back in 2006 when everything was getting geared up to... Anyway, everyone was getting excited for the 7th generation of consoles coming out. Even Microsoft was getting excited, what with all the Xbox 360 units that got cooked on release, pumping out Red Ring of Death after Red Ring of Death. And they just couldn't keep those consoles from bursting into flames, for Christ's sake. Mine died just as I finished the first playthrough of Gears of War, and I wanted to play it again right away. So I was not about to take that laying down. I took my 360 apart down to the motherboard and stuck it in the oven and made the whole house smell like a solder factory while I baked and resynced the CPU. I'll be damned because it worked! And I went straight back into the urban combat of Gears of War again. I was completely blown away by what I was seeing, and even my brother, who was a staunch PC enthusiast, well, he's an elitist actually. Anyway, he was impressed by the visuals and presentation of the game. I remember when he was walking by my room and he had to stop to watch me play a bit, he said, "Wow, that actually looks pretty good." A begrudging admission from him on his part, as that he was talking shit the entire time I was working to get the Xbox 360. Let's also keep in mind that I was probably playing the game on a little tube-type TV and not even in HD, as that I didn't even have anything near an HD TV back in those days. Gears of War was one of those games that I finished playing, got to the end, and then started up a new game right away, after I baked a motherboard pie in the oven. Back in those days, game achievements were new at the time, and that made me want to play the game all over again. When you play through the main campaign, you can collect COG tags, the Coalition of Ordered Governments version of dog tags. Scouring the maps for COG tags was like trying to find them colorful Pokemon, and I wanted to catch all them little bastards. Thankfully, later in life, I stopped giving a shit about achievements. The amount of completionist that is, I am not. But sometimes it's cool to see the ones on Steam where not a lot of players get those achievements. Oh, and sweet mother of God, the combat. The combat in Gears of War is absolutely satisfying and visceral. Yes, I am referring to the Lancer chainsaw kills. They were insane, and I'd never seen anything like that before in a game. I had seen the cover mechanic before in games like Kill Switch on the original Xbox. Man, I tell you, I went back and tried to play that game at some point, and I almost lost my ever-loving fucking mind and snapped my fucking controller in half in the process. I don't know what it is about Kill Switch, but I just cannot get through the game as an adult. Anywho's, the story of Gears of War is pretty ambiguous in the beginning. All you really know is that our protagonist, Marcus Phoenix, is locked away in a jail for some reason, and it was a crime that he had committed in the military. His buddy, Dominique Santiago, busts him out. Of course, it's out of the frying pan and into the fire. You're broke out of prison just to fight the good fight against the grubs and the Coalition of Ordered Governments once again as a private. Tactical cover shooting galore ensues. The voice acting in Gears of War is definitely on point. You've got some pretty good voice actors on tap for a story spanning 5 acts. You've got Marcus Phoenix, played by our friend Waka, and Bender, John DiMaggio. You've got Dominique Santiago, played by Carlos Fierro. The Coal Train, played by Lester Spate. The ever narcissistic Baird, played by Fred Tatasciore. I think that's how you say his name. The radio support, Anya Stroud, played by Nan McNamara. The Locust Queen is played by Carolyn Seymour, who is also in Star Trek and for some reason Babylon 5. I mean, if you desperately need a different kind of sci-fi show, Babylon 5 will do. I mean, look at this guy. I always called him Count Chocula. And to round everything out, we have Robert Atkin Downes playing Lieutenant Kim, but not for very long, unfortunately.
strategy remains the same. Cut off the head of the snake, and the body dies. We will win this war. It's only a matter of time.
Alright, bats and ghouls, let's get into some of the nuts and bolts of the gameplay. We'll start up with the most important part. The workhorse of the game would be the weapons. First up, we have the Legend, the Lancer, my favorite weapon of all time, only outdone by the super shotgun from Doom. Throughout my playthroughs, I keep the Lancer with me pretty much through the entire game. It's a satisfying weapon, and once you learn its quirks, it can be deadly in the hands of a veteran. The chainsaw bayonet, of course, is an absolute genius invention. Makes for grisly and glorious finishing moves. The absolute exclamation point on the end of a combat encounter is chainsawing the motherfucker in half. The only downside of the Lancer is when the grubs get a hold of it at the end part of the game, they can saw you in half instead. It can be quite emasculating, getting killed by a chainsaw from a lowly grub wielding a weapon made by your own people. Next up, we have the Hammerburst, the locust answer to the Lancer. A reliable weapon with burst fire that will kill just fine when your Lancer ammo has dried up. No fancy chainsaw bayonet, but perfectly fine melee attack. It's actually the first weapon you receive in the game when Dominique is busting you out of prison. On that same note, wretches are the first enemies you see in the game as well. Anyway, not a lot of notes here on this one, just nice, stock standard weapon when everything else is used up. Rounding second base, when everything is used up and you're down to your pistol, there are two variants, the Coalition of Ordered Governments version and the Locust version. Both are serviceable weapons. The COG pistol has a decent punch and plenty of rounds in the magazine. The Locust variant hits hard and is more like a traditional wheel revolver. Both of them are great in a pinch when everything else is used up, but you really don't find yourself using the pistol a lot in the campaign. Next in line is the shotgun. I can't bring myself to like the shotgun, unfortunately. It's not like the weapon is completely useless, but I find myself to be unsatisfied using it. One of those things that's hard to put into words, I just don't like it. Moving on, now we have the yin to the Lancer's yang, the sniper rifle. The one shot that hits hard and puts the grubs down with a powerful center mass hit. The headshots are satisfying, and the street combat is a sniper's playground when you wield this weapon. I keep this on me at all times. Did I mention that the headshots are satisfying? 'Cause holy fuck, they're satisfying. I love the sniper rifle in Gears of War, and I keep it with me whenever I can. Moving on, next up we have the grenades. Unfortunately, no dedicated grenade button, but still satisfying to use and very intuitive. When you hold the aim button, you start swinging the grenade like a sock full of quarters. Dangerous, exploding quarters. There's an on-screen guide that comes up that shows you the estimated trajectory of the grenade when you throw it. Very useful. If you have the grenade equipped and melee an enemy, you stick it straight to them, and then you run like a bat out of hell before it goes off, leaving your enemy in a pile of chunky salsa. I don't use that technique much, but it is available for those willing to try. Further down the list, we have the boom shot. These weapons are typically dropped by the aptly named boomers. A lot of creativity behind the naming in this game, but of course it is military, so there's not a lot of imagination going on there to begin with. Anyways, it's a one-shot grenade launcher, and yet again, another serviceable weapon that puts out a lot of damage when you need it. They can be rare because they're only dropped by the enemy most of the time, but I find that it's a satisfying weapon to use if you've got nothing else. And rounding up our list of standard weapons, you have the torque bow, a weapon charged up and then launches a spike with a grenade at the end of it. I absolutely hate it. I want nothing to do with it. My first playthrough was a clear indication of how much I don't like them. Never pick them up when they're available. A good strategist can use them, but I prefer the good old-fashioned combination of sniper rifle and lancer. Torque bows are typically carried by the Theron guards and can be an absolute bane of any player who doesn't pay attention to the battlefield raging around them. There's nothing worse than hearing the torque bow spin up, fire, and see a glowing indicator attached to Marcus Phoenix. You're fucking dead and emasculated. Alright. Starting out the list of non-standard weapons, we have the Troika, an extremely dangerous gun emplacement. Piece of advice, never, ever, ever try to take on the Troika head-on. The story itself lets you know what you should do and always try to flank it. Thankfully, it's just as dangerous in your hands as it is in the Locust, and there's more than a few chances to take over a Troika emplacement and turn their own weapons against them. They're nice, powerful, and chunky. Sometimes you can get lucky and take the gunner out with a well-placed sniper round. Anytime you and Delta Squad bump into a Troika in the field, it's always a showstopper in the middle of a battle. You will always have to stop and deal with it. And next up, we have one of the more useless weapons in the game, the Hammer of Dawn. It's more of a plot point than an actual useful weapon in my opinion. You only get it a few times in the campaign, and when you do, it's only for a limited period of time. Basically, it's a weapon linked to a satellite in orbit, and is only useful when the satellite is in range and the sky is clear. Mostly, it's to kill one enemy variety so that the story can progress. Thankfully, it only shows up like 3 or 4 times in the story. Along with all the chunky, satisfying weapons, we have what they call an active reload system. If you hit the reload button just at the right time, you reload faster, and the next rounds you load up into the magazine do a little bit more damage. If you fuck up the active reload, the weapon jams and Marcus has a hard time getting the weapon back into the fight. It adds a bit of randomness to the battle while you're keeping your reload sharp. Nothing is worse than getting cut down by a lowly grub while you're muddling around with your weapon that you're supposed to be an expert with. Next up, we have some story plot things. Sometimes during the game you have to make a choice of whether to go left or right on 2 branching paths. They don't really make a huge difference. Mostly it's the game's way of shaking things up and separating the co-op players to fight with NPCs instead. It's a neat idea, but also kind of pointless. For me, anyway.
Form up! Control, this is Delta, confirming 1-9 report. First drop zone aborted. We are at East Barricade. I repeat, East Barricade, over.
Copy that, Delta. Be advised, there are survivors at 2-5's crash site.
Then that's our first stop. What's the situation on the ground?
You have 2 options, Delta. You can take the street, or move through those buildings ahead of you.
We'll take both. Baird, you're with me. Cole, Dom, take the street. We'll cover you.
Will do.
Throughout the game, you will encounter the Stranded. These are the folks that were left behind by the coalition of ordered governments to live on their own or just weren't worth saving. Could you imagine being one of these people, being left behind to fend for yourself on a planet that is just overrun with these horrible fucking monsters? That would be a pretty fucked up way to live.
Bullshit's not gonna help you out here. Hey, pig! I'm talking to you, piggy!
Blow me. Leave it alone, Baird.
What are you, my mom?
What's happening?
It's all you, Dom.
Don't worry, I got it. I won't let you down.
Hey, Santiago, what you doing here? No news on the lady, man. I'll tell you if I heard anything. I don't want people seeing me with you, all right? It's not good for business, man.
Give me that junker of yours.
Say what? Get real, man.
I'm serious. We need it.
Sorry to hear you're having problems, man, but I'm not giving you my ride, yo.
You owe me one. I'm calling in the favor right now.
All right, man, I'll do it. Yo, on one condition. They stay here, yo. As collateral. We can use the extra guns, man.
Done.
It's an Asheville gas station. Why don't you go get it? Hey, yo, Santiago. We even now, man. No more favors, asshole. This is bullshit.
Told you I had a plan.
Your plan blows, all right? Hey, hands up the merchandise. No, yeah, you. Bear it out.
To show how much of a nerd that I am, I used to actually read the novels for Gears of War. And they kind of delve deeper into the whole dichotomy of the coalition of ordered government soldiers and the stranded. A pretty neat story and worth a look in my opinion. Alright, let's get on the downhill side of this thing and finish this script out. I absolutely love Gears of War, and I give you my wholehearted recommendation. Play this game. Just do it.